New York City has a police force larger than the active duty militaries of many countries. Not a national police force, a city police force, and the mayor appoints the person who runs it. That sounds like an enormous amount of power, and it is. But here is the strange part. That same mayor cannot simply make the subway run on time. He can appoint the police commissioner, but he does not directly run the MTA. He can propose a budget worth more than $120 billion, but he cannot spend it alone. He can campaign on a rent freeze, but he does not personally cast the final vote. So, what kind of power is this? Over the last few months, New York's mayor Zohran Mamdani has been showing up in headline after headline. Rent freeze, potholes repaired, trash bins, changing across the city, heatwave responses, World Cup tickets, and a massive new budget. From the outside, it can look like he found some kind of cheat code for running New York. But these headlines are not all examples of the same kind of power. Some are about appointments, some are about money, some are about public pressure, some are about coordination, and some only happen because the city hall knows which part of the machine to move. The first thing to understand is that New York City is not New York State. New York State is run from Albany by the governor. New York City is run from City Hall by the mayor. That means the mayor cannot overrule the governor, rewrite state law, or take control of every system that happens to operate inside the city. The subway is the clearest example. If trains are late, dirty, unsafe, or too expensive, most people blame the mayor. Politically, that makes sense. Practically, it is more complicated. The MTA is a state authority. The mayor can negotiate with it, recommend people to its board, pressure it publicly, and make transit a political priority, but he does not run it. That limit matters, because once you understand what the mayor cannot control, the things he can control starts to make more sense. New York City is not a normal city. More than 8 million people live across its 5 boroughs. It is home to Wall Street, the United Nations, some of the most expensive real estate on earth, and one of the most visible city governments in the world. So, the mayor is not just managing a town hall and a few local services. He is standing at the center of a very large machine. The real question is, which parts of that machine can he actually move? Start with the rent freeze, because this is where mayoral power looks almost fake. Mamdani did not freeze rents by signing some magical mayoral order. That is not how it works. The Rent Guidelines Board voted to freeze rent increases on 1- and 2-year rent stabilized renewal leases. The board is technically independent, but the mayor appoints members to it, and in this case, Mamdani had appointed 6 members of the 9-member board. So, the rent freeze was not one man making one decision alone. City Hall shaped the people in the room, the campaign shaped the issue, public pressure shaped the stakes, and then the board made the decision. That is not absolute power, but it is still power, because real power is not always about being the person who signs the final document. Sometimes it is about deciding which decisions become possible in the first place. Now, look at the budget, because this is where the mayor looks the most powerful. Mamdani released a $124.7 billion executive budget. That is a huge number, bigger than the national budget of some countries, but an executive budget is not a blank check. It is a starting point. The city council still has to negotiate it, amend it, and approve the final budget. So the mayor cannot simply wake up and spend $124.7 billion however he wants. But he does get to make the first serious move. He gets to say, this is where the money should go, this is what we should grow, this is what should be cut, and this is the kind of city we are trying to build. Once that plan is on the table, the city has to respond to it. The council negotiates, agencies defend their priorities, And unions, landlords, advocates, Albany, the press, and the public all start reading the budget for what it means to them. That is agenda power. Not the power to spend money, but the power to set the terms of the argument. Then, there is the kind of power people usually only notice when something changes in their neighborhood. A pothole gets filled, a trash bin appears, a cooling center opens, a water fountain becomes easier to find during a heat wave, or a citywide event suddenly feels organized. This is coordination, and it may be the most underrated part of the mayor's job. Take a pothole blitz. On the surface, it looks simple. A hole in the road is there in the morning and by evening it is gone. But behind that one repair is a chain of decisions. Complaints come in, routes are planned, crews are assigned, equipment is moved, deadlines are set, and the mayor's office makes it clear that this is now a priority. That is what city power looks like on the ground. Not glamorous, not dramatic, but visible. The trash bins work the same way. On the surface, it is just new bins, cleaner streets, and fewer trash bags sitting out for rats. But underneath that is a sanitation policy, building rules, street design, enforcement, funding, legislation, and neighborhood rollout. That is not one switch, it is a system, and the mayor's job is to make that system move. The heat response is another version of the same thing. When a dangerous heat wave hits, the mayor cannot lower the temperature, but City Hall can activate emergency management, open cooling centers, coordinate park resources, push public health messaging, and help people find water, shade, spray showers, and safer public spaces. The mayor is not controlling nature, he is coordinating the city around the crisis. And that brings us to the World Cup. Mamdani did not create the World Cup, as you know. He does not control FIFA and he does not own the tournament, but his administration helped secure 1,000 affordable tickets at $50 per seat for New Yorkers with free round-trip buses for transportation. That is not direct control of the event, it is influence, negotiation, access, and the mayor using the city's position to make a global event feel more available to the people of New York City. And this is the distinction that most people miss. Power is when the city directly controls the agency, the budget, the appointment, or the service. Influence is when the mayor cannot make the final decision alone, but can make it much harder for everyone else to ignore. Coordination is when City Hall gets different agencies, boards, partners, and institutions moving in the same direction. That is why Mamdani seems to be getting a lot done. Not because he controls everything, but because he is using the office in several ways at once, appointing the right people, proposing the money, setting the argument, applying pressure, negotiating with outside institutions, and making the city move faster. But there are hard limits. The city council can change the mayor's budget, pass local laws, and override the mayoral veto. The comptroller can review city spending and contracts. The courts can stop actions that break the law, and New York State can step in wherever Albany has the final say. This is why the MTA example matters so much. It is not just about transit. It is a reminder that even in New York City, the mayor does not control everything New Yorkers experience every day. The subway can shape your life. The mayor can shape the politics around it, but that does not mean the mayor runs it. How much power does the mayor of New York actually have? A lot. More than most mayors in America. The office can appoint key leaders, propose one of the largest municipal budgets in the world, shape major boards, coordinate more than 100 agencies, and set the agenda for a city of more than 8 million people. But it is not unlimited power. The mayor cannot become the governor, run the subway alone, pass laws alone, spend the budget alone, or force every institution in New York to do what he wants. What Mamdani has shown is not that one mayor found a cheat code. It is what happens when a mayor understands the machine. Appointments, money, public pressure, negotiation, coordination, the ability to make an issue impossible to ignore. That is why the mayor of New York City can seem so powerful. not because he controls everything, but because in one of the most important cities in the world, moving even one part of the machine can change life for millions of people. And that might be the real lesson. Power is not always about owning the whole machine. Sometimes it is knowing exactly where to pull. Thank you so much for watching today's video. This is explained briefly and everything makes sense eventually. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.